It began with a game created by bored, evil gods. A game called Prison Day forced upon humanity. The losers were trapped, their souls forfeit. Everyone believed they could be the final winner. But in the end, only one person survived. He thought victory would bring him peace. But the true prize was an offer to join them. The gods address him. Ro-He, the strongest player. They tempt him with immortality and divine power. They can't understand why he would refuse. He made every choice with cold logic. And along the way, he lost everything. His mother, his friends, the one he loved. The gods ask what he could possibly want now. He remembers the simple, peaceful life he lost. The moments of happiness that were stolen. The gods mock him, vowing to destroy his world. But Ro-He has one last ace up his sleeve. A card with a power even they can't control. S-rank time reversal, a total reset. The gods are shocked he managed to get it. But they seem intrigued by this new development. The card's effect activates. He falls back through time, vowing revenge. His eyes snap open. The past now his present. He jolts awake in a hospital bed. The world around him is unfamiliar yet known. He looks at his hands, realizing it worked. He's back, in a psychiatric hospital. Great. A familiar face appears asking about his visions. It's his mother, alive and well before him. His eyes widen, the single word mom full of disbelief. He remembers her fate in the last timeline. Overwhelmed, he embraces the woman he thought he'd lost. She's confused, worried his condition is worsening. He recalls his diagnosis, dissociative identity disorder. The voices in his head were always real to him, but this simple, peaceful life was all he ever wanted. He glances at the clock, knowing peace is temporary. Prison Day begins at 6 p.m. He has 34 minutes left. He remembers the game's brutal, unforgiving rules. With no time to waste, he forms a plan. He begins writing down every cheat code he knows. One copy for his mom and one for a friend. His mother warns him to rest before leaving the room. The door closes, leaving him to his urgent task. He thinks back on the life she fought to give him, how his father abandoned them both, and how she raised him alone through hardship. A familiar face arrives, bringing his favorite snack. It's Shu-Ching, his one and only friend. He was an outcast, bullied for his illness, but Shu-Ching always stood up for him. In the last life, that loyalty cost him everything. His friend peeks over, thinking he's writing a novel. Shu-Ching is shocked he's allowed to play games. He assumes it must be a legendary, must-play title. Ro-He hands him the guides for him and his mother. He stresses the importance of memorizing every word. Confused but trusting, his friend takes the notebooks and leaves. Ro-He's goal is simple: become the strongest player once again. To do that, he must master the game's card-based power system. His ultimate prize is the 15 S-rank cards, items of immense power. Only by collecting them all can he hope to challenge the gods. The clock on his phone ticks down the final seconds of peace. He looks at a photo of his family, a final moment of calm. This ordinary life he fought to regain is about to end. At 6 p.m. sharp, the system message appears. The world around him begins to glitch and distort. His soul is extracted as the game begins its initialization. This time, he swears he will protect everything he treasures. And once he's strong enough, he'll wipe the gods from existence. The system loads him into the first stage, Slaughter Company. But an error flashes. The system failed to delete his memories. Whoops. Unaware of its mistake, the game wishes him a good time. He materializes in a familiar office just as he remembers it. The game's stages are designed to mimic the real world. Other players are confused, their memories wiped clean. But Ro-He, with his knowledge intact, knows exactly what's coming. He's been dropped into the E-rank stage, Slaughter Company. A low-level stage, but one that requires killing 3 bosses. He immediately pulls up his character status panel. He's level 0, with no stats, skills, or items to his name. In his current state, fighting even one boss is impossible. He notices an unidentifiable blessing on his status sheet. He closes the panel, knowing he needs a plan to get stronger. A spark of recognition hits him. He knows what to do. He remembers a hidden side quest on this very stage. With 10 minutes before the stage officially starts, he stands up. He sprints through the office, a forgotten memory surfacing. He recalls a cryptic message about defeating the gods, a message about joining forces with another. Ro-He wonders if he can steal their power too. He pushes the thought aside, focusing on his goal. He arrives at the men's restroom. This is the location of the hidden quest. The system confirms he's found the right spot. The quest is titled, The Secret in the Men's Room Stall. A classic. With no time to waste, he kicks the door open. A small, glowing monster appears, looking surprised. It's the scaredy cat guarding a hidden chest. The little guy tries its best to look intimidating. But Ro-He has seen far, far worse. He He gives the creature a look that could curdle milk. The monster immediately regrets its life choices. It dissolves and flees, leaving the treasure behind. The system confirms the scaredy cat has been defeated. Rohi knew scaring it was the only requirement, but the system says the chest is locked without a key. Rohi decides his foot is the only key he needs. The chest shatters into pieces. Problem solved. He explains how the key clue fools most newbies. Inside, he finds exactly what he came for. 3 E-rank attribute cards. With these, he can finally activate his player stats. He uses them instantly, a green aura enveloping him. His stamina, agility, and strength all increase. The boost is small, but he can feel the difference. He now has the power to fight the stage's bosses. His status panel updates, showing his new level 1 stats. But he knows this small boost is far from enough. To win, he must seize every power available to him. He turns his attention to that unidentifiable blessing. He calls out, demanding to know who gave it to him. He scoffs, not actually expecting a response. But to his shock, a mysterious voice answers. Suddenly, a dark presence emerges from the shadows. A massive, shadowy figure looms over him. Rohi finds himself pulled into an empty, dark void. The voice reveals they have been watching him all along. He demands to know who they are and why they're helping. They call the blessing a mere trick, a test of his worth. With time running out, they send him back to the fight. Rohi accepts their challenge, ready to prove himself. Just then, the official countdown ends. The system announces the boss is about to spawn. A new rule appears: stay at your workstation or fail. Rohi sprints back, racing against the final minute. But 2 other players are busy trying to break down the door. Rohi sighs. There's always someone who can't read the room. As the timer hits 0, the rule breakers are instantly eliminated. The other players watch in horror as the game shows its teeth. Rohi remains unfazed. In Prison Day, rules are absolute. The main entrance is sealed by a glowing red barrier. A warning flashes, the E-rank boss is on its way. Through the barrier, the silhouettes of the enemy appear. Rohi steels himself. The first boss has arrived. The cleaning crew materializes, ready to take out the trash. Their stats are revealed: a level 2 boss and level 1 minions. One of the players scoffs, fatally underestimating the threat. A muscular player steps up, confident he can save them all. Rohi warns him not to judge these monsters by normal standards. He knows that without stats, human strength is utterly meaningless. But the brawny player scoffs, dismissing Rohi's advice. He's more interested in climbing the global player rankings. He fantasizes about the wealth and luxury awaiting the top player. Fueled by greed, he charges headfirst into the fray. His punch is effortlessly blocked by a minion's glowing weapon. And just like that, the would-be hero is unceremoniously eliminated. The cleaning crew advances, ready to sweep up the rest. Panic erupts as the remaining players scream in terror. But Rohi remains perfectly calm, his resolve hardening. He springs into action, intercepting a minion's attack. A single powerful blow sends the creature flying backward. It crashes to the ground, momentarily stunned by the impact. Rohi tells the others that fighting is their only path to survival. The survivors watch in awe, shocked by his sudden display of strength. But the minion rises again, not yet defeated. Rohi grabs the nearest weapon he can find, a humble broom. A final, decisive strike, and the monster dissolves into light. The system confirms the kill, rewarding him with a weapon and a card. The other players, including the muscular guy, are left in disbelief. Rohi examines his prize, an E-rank strength card. He uses it immediately, boosting his power to level 2. Another level 1 minion approaches, unaware of the change. Rohi knows that in this game, 1 level is everything. The monster swings its weapon, expecting an easy victory. But our boy is no longer on its level. He dispatches it with ease, earning another reward card. His strength climbs to level 3 as his eyes gleam with focus. He dodges another clumsy attack from behind. Rohi scoffs, unimpressed by their predictable tactics. The system rewards him with an E-rank agility card. He smiles, knowing speed is just as vital as strength. But his success has drawn some very unwanted attention. The game's aggro system now has him firmly in its sights. He knows the boss is buffed. A direct fight would be suicide. He'll have to kite them, picking them off one by one. He calls out to the others, asking for a simple distraction. He's drawing all the fire, giving them a perfect opening to act. This is also a test to see if any of them are worth saving. But the survivors are frozen in fear, paralyzed by the threat. Rohi sighs, looks like he'll have to do everything himself. As usual, a minion lunges, its battle cry echoing through the office. Suddenly, a keyboard flies through the air, stunning the creature. Rohi turns, surprised that someone actually had the guts to act. A man in glasses urges the others to fight for their lives. but his plea is met with cowardice and desperation. The boss's glowing eye locks onto the source of the commotion. It abandons Rohi, charging toward the terrified players. The brave man lures the boss away, creating a vital opening. Rohi doesn't waste it, taking out the last 2 minions instantly. With his stats boosted, they're no match for him now. 2 more cards drop, 1 for agility and 1 for strength. But the boss has cornered its new target, ready to strike. Rohi appears, calmly informing the monster of its place. A single clean strike, and the boss is eliminated. The system confirms his victory and unlocks the player rankings. He's in first place, which means a legendary prize is coming. The first S-rank card is his for the taking, if he can keep his rank. The game began simultaneously across the entire globe. Millions of unsuspecting souls were dragged into the nightmare. He remembers the powerful players who rose in the last timeline. He knows he can't afford to underestimate any of them. To beat the gods, he must become stronger than ever before. The system confirms his rewards for clearing the first phase. He's surprised to find a rare and valuable card among the loot. The Iron Embryo forges a unique weapon based on the user's aura. With a bit of luck, it could become a legendary blade. Meanwhile, the man who helped him is still processing what happened. Rohi recognizes the man's courage in a critical moment. He thanks him for the assist, but the man is just glad to be alive. As a reward, Rohi offers him 3 of the cards he earned. The man is stunned, insisting Rohi should keep them for himself. But Rohi is firm. The man earned his share of the prize. He tells him to watch closely as he prepares for the next round. With a single thought, he activates his new attribute cards. His strength and agility jump to level 4. The other man follows suit, feeling the power for the first time. His own status panel appears, revealing his name, Shu Wen. He's confused, wondering how he gained experience points. Rohi explains the game's assist system for shared EXP. When asked his level, Rohi's answer leaves Shu Wen speechless. His status reflects his rapid growth, but his skills are still locked. Now it's time to see what the Iron Embryo has in store for him. The card dissolves into pure energy, taking a new form. It forges the Blue Vein Sword, a growth-type weapon bound to his soul. He's impressed. A weapon that evolves with him is incredibly rare. Shu Wen can't believe he'd call such an amazing sword just not bad. But Rohi is comparing it to his last life's S-rank weapon. The system congratulates the survivors on clearing the first stage. But there's no time to rest. The second stage is about to begin. Rohi recalls this exact announcement from his past life. He turns to Shu Wen, offering him a spot on his team. He explains that he needs smart allies, and Shu Wen has proven he qualifies. Overjoyed, Shu Wen pledges his loyalty as they head to the next area. Suddenly, they're swarmed by the other survivors, all begging to be saved. A few of the men block his path, trying to guilt him into being their hero. Rohi's patience wears thin, his eyes glowing with a deadly warning. The would-be tough guys are immediately frozen with terror. They wisely step aside, clearing a path for the 2 of them. As they walk away, the others can only whisper about the killer in his eyes. Shu Wen asks why he left them, and Rohi explains they're cowards who would only drag him down. He's not here to save everyone. He's here to protect the ones he loves. Shu Wen vows to give it his all as Rohi warns him of the next boss, the chef. He also mentions a mental corruption debuff, leaving his new ally puzzled. They arrive at the cafeteria, where the system instructs them to take a seat. But just as they enter, a menacing red figure appears at the door. Shu Wen recoils in shock at the sight of the new monster. Rohi calmly identifies it as the Executioner, the game's enforcer for latecomers. He tells Shu Wen to sit, who worries they might not have made it in time. Rohi assures him they're fine, but notes that most people waste time on pointless hesitation. As if on cue, the other survivors come sprinting down the hall, regretting every second they wasted. They just barely tumble into the room as the final seconds tick away. The countdown hits 0, sealing the doors behind them. One of the late arrivals catches his breath, thinking he's safe just because he's inside. The Executioner disagrees, eliminating the entire group for failing to be seated in time. The remaining players can only watch in horror, their indecision costing others their lives. A faint rattling sound echoes from the darkness of the kitchen. The chef has arrived, and it looks like dinner is about to be served. Shu Wen serves up the cafeteria's special of the day. A closer look reveals a writhing, glowing green nightmare. His eyes widen in pure, unadulterated horror. He realizes the main course is made from the monsters they just fought. A system message confirms the mental corruption debuff. Shu Wen panics, his stats dropping just from looking at the food. But Rohi calmly informs him that's only the beginning. The rules are simple. Eat or be eliminated. Don't waste food, no pressure. Shu Wen despairs, trapped between a rock and a very gross place. Rohi, however, smirks. already knowing the way out. He activates his remaining cards, boosting his stats to level 5. He explains that E-rank cards have now reached their limit for him. This leaves him with 2 spare agility cards he can no longer use. He tosses them to Xu Wen, a reward for his earlier bravery. Xu Wen doesn't hesitate, immediately activating his new gift. He powers up, his agility now at level 3, as the others watch in envy. Just then, the chef boss appears, roaring with fury. Its rage alone is enough to paralyze the other players with fear. But Xu Wen, empowered by his new stats, feels his fear subside. The chef demands to know who killed its minions, threatening them all. The room erupts into chaos as the survivors scream for help. But a single figure moves to intercept the monster's rage. Rohi blocks the chef's massive cleaver with his own blade. The boss seems surprised by this sudden act of defiance. Rohi calmly takes credit for dispatching its underlings. The chef promises him a painful end, but Rohi has his own plans. He vows to cut through the monster's neck before it gets the chance. The enraged chef charges, eager to test his opponent's resolve. Their blades meet in a shower of sparks and raw power. Xu Wen watches in shock as Rohi is thrown backward by the force. Xu Wen's words trigger a painful memory for Rohi. He remembers his first team, the friends he once led. But on the long road to victory, every single one of them fell. He was left alone, haunted by the question of his own survival. The chef's roar snaps him back to the present fight. He recalls not understanding the true cost of winning. But now he understands everything perfectly. Their weapons collide with devastating force. This time, however, he doesn't give an inch. The boss is stunned by his incredible speed. It realizes Rohi was only testing the waters before. He survived because his will to win was absolute, a will that would crush any obstacle in his path. But after achieving that victory, he found it hollow. He wanted to win to protect those he cherished. The system confirms his victory and a hidden bonus. He receives a shower of attribute cards for his efforts. He also gets a temporary buff, a nice little party favor from the chef. His knowledge of the game netted him some sweet extra loot. Now it's time to check the leaderboards. Unsurprisingly, he's dominating first place by a massive margin. He recognizes the other top players from his past life. But he knows the gods won't let humanity grow strong so easily. This time he'll be ready for their cruelest games. He looks forward to meeting his old rivals once more. The system announces the end of the second stage. Now, the final and most difficult part of the trial begins. He tells Xu Wen it's time to move out. Xu Wen follows, still a bit overwhelmed by his new reality. But he stops Rohi, having something important to give him. It's a simple tissue, held out as a gesture of care. Xu Wen offers it to Rohi, apologizing for not being more helpful. He feels useless, wishing he could do more for his new leader. Rohi is reminded that even in this hell, kindness still exists. He reassures his new ally, telling him he's far from useless. Meanwhile, the next wave of monsters is already on its way. A shadowy figure grins, eager to devour the survivors. A new countdown appears. Reach the lobby or be eliminated. Xu Wen asks if high stats are the only key to victory. Rohi explains that natural talent still plays a crucial role. His new friend despairs, realizing his stats might not save his unathletic self. Still, Xu Wen looks at his new boss with total admiration. Rohi stops them on the stairs, a new plan forming. He tells Xu Wen to stay behind and wait for the others. His mission: warn the survivors not to run away. It's a hidden rule. Fleeing is an automatic failure. Xu Wen worries, asking what Rohi will do alone. Our boy is going ahead to deal with the next threat himself. Xu Wen salutes, touched by Rohi's apparent concern for his safety. But Rohi's motives are purely strategic. He needs allies to clear this stage. To win, he must find the player who was the strongest here in his last life. The final stage pits them against a squad of powerful security guards. He remembers that in the past, going solo was a death sentence. He looks up the stairs, seeing a familiar figure waiting. Rohi smirks. The man he's been looking for has arrived. He recalls that this player was the key to their survival last time. His name is Xu Zhengyang, a powerhouse even in the early game. The brawny player confronts him about the warning, and Rohi plays it cool. Xu Zhengyang admits he was impressed by Rohi's performance. But now he's ready to challenge him for the top spot. Xu Zhengyang leaps down, challenging Rohi for the next boss kill. Rohi calmly informs him that he's simply not a match. In a flash, he lands a precise strike on his opponent's neck. The brawny player is stunned, realizing this is no ordinary strength. Rohi offers him a deal. Team up, and these 3 cards are his. Xu Zhengyang scoffs, demanding to know why he should trust him. Instead of an answer, Rohi throws a special card right at him. It activates instantly, flooding the man's mind with lost memories. Rohi explains the memory wipe is the stage's true challenge. Without attachments, players can't unite. A cruel trick by the gods. but this card can awaken the heart, restoring what was taken. Our boy knows his opponent's weakness from the last timeline. A memory of a young boy surfaces, giving Xu Zhengyang a reason to live. His resolve now firm, he asks if they can truly win together. Rohi assures him victory is certain as he tosses over the promised cards. Xu Zhengyang accepts the favor, his stats finally activating. Rohi gives him his mission, hold off some of the enemies. He then activates his own cards, his power level soaring. But he knows even strength level 7 won't be enough for what's coming. The chef's buff kicks in, granting him a massive +3 to strength. Talk about a lucky meal. He smirks, knowing another hidden rule will boost him even further. Just then, the doors to the lobby creak open. The final bosses materialize, the spectral security team. The monsters mock their new prey, unimpressed by their numbers. Xu Zhengyang feels the crushing pressure of a true boss fight. He questions if the two of them stand any chance at all. But Rohi's confidence is unshakable, inspiring his new ally. Their courage triggers a hidden reward, boosting both their stats. With his strength now at level 11, Rohi declares he's the real boss here. Xu Zhengyang can only watch tense as his leader charges in. Xu Zhengyang recalls his past life as an underground fighter. He remembers his strategy for facing unpredictable foes. He saw that same unnerving confidence in Rohi's eyes. The key was to observe your opponent's attack patterns, and then finish them with a single decisive counter. But Rohi simply charges in, a blur of motion against the horde. The guards mock his lean frame, fatally underestimating him. One of them lunges forward, eager to claim the first kill. Its attack is effortlessly blocked by the blue vein sword. Xu Zhengyang realizes Rohi could have ended him instantly. The spectral guards sense the danger, preparing their group attack. A new countdown appears, ordering all players to the lobby. Xu Zhengyang's eyes burn with a new determined fire. Rohi knows another hidden rule. The fight starts immediately. He carves a path through the spectral enemies with deadly grace. His goal is to clear a safe zone for the others to pass through. Meanwhile, Xu Wen calmly directs the survivors toward the stairs. Rohi smirks, impressed that his new ally understood the plan. Xu Wen realizes he must stall, bringing them in at the last moment. Seeing Rohi's dominance, Xu Zhengyang wants to join the fight, but Rohi orders him to stay back and protect the group. The monsters change tactics, targeting the weaker players instead. Rohi gives the signal, unleashing his new powerhouse. A guard charges the crowd, aiming for the easiest prey. But Xu Zhengyang intercepts with a furious battle cry. He lands a solid blow, trusting Rohi's judgment completely. But he's shocked by how little damage his punch actually inflicts. He struggles, wondering how Rohi makes it look so effortless. Xu Wen rallies the survivors, telling them to trust their new boss. For now, all they can do is put their faith in their protectors. Rohi steels himself, ready to face the horde alone. A system message confirms his blue vein sword is fully charged. The spectral guards coordinate their attack, swarming him from all sides. But Rohi's eyes gleam with confidence. He was hoping for a challenge. He unleashes a devastating whirlwind of slashes. The survivors can only watch in awe, their new boss a literal god of war. Meanwhile, Xu Zhengyang struggles with a single enemy, his pride wounded. With the minions cleared, Rohi turns to the final boss. The security captain appears, its stats revealing a terrifying level 10 strength. The monster looms over him, a creature born only for destruction. The others are paralyzed with fear, certain this is a fight he can't win. He remembers this fight from his past life, and the heavy cost of victory. Their blades meet in a cataclysmic explosion of force. But this time, things will be different. The boss swings its weapon, aiming for a finishing blow. Rohi declares that this time he alone is enough. He unleashes a furious barrage, overwhelming the captain completely. The system updates, his strength now an unbelievable level 14. He explains how every minion kill and every buff stacked his power. He's already far stronger than he was at this stage in his last life. The survivors realize they're following someone beyond human comprehension. Only one enemy remains, still locked in combat with Xu Zhengyang. The two fighters prepare to settle things with one final punch. But Rohi intervenes, ending the fight before it even begins. A bit of an overkill, but effective. Xu Zhengyang is left speechless, humbled by the massive gap in their power. The system confirms the stage is cleared, showing Rohi's 99.9% contribution. He smirks, anticipating the legendary reward for his perfect performance. The other survivors are just thrilled to be getting any rewards at all. Rohi knows these basic rewards are meant to help them survive. But he also knows that for some, this power will only feed their inner demons. He knows this sudden power must be controlled. To do that, he'll need allies from the real world. His rank on the global leaderboard should do the trick. With such a massive lead, he's the undisputed king of this game. The other survivors receive their basic participation trophies. Xu Wen is thrilled with his own stat boost. Xu Jingyang is impressed by his newfound strength. But compared to Ro He, they're still playing in the little leagues. The system begins distributing rewards based on contribution. His new allies worry their small efforts won't earn them much. Even Ro He is curious. He's never dominated a stage this completely. Xu Wen is overjoyed to receive even a single attribute card. Xu Jingyang gets 2 cards, a fair reward for his efforts. They both turn to Ro He, wondering what a 99% contribution gets you. The system reveals his legendary loot, 3 game-changing cards. A class change, a team summon? Yeah, his luck is pretty good. Suddenly, the world around them begins to glitch and fade. The stage dissolves and the survivors hope for a return home. Ro He confirms they'll get a short break in the real world. He warns them that reality has already been changed forever. The others are stunned to learn this game was intentionally created. Ro He rallies them, urging them to fight for their future. Their goal is to grow strong enough to defy the gods themselves. His allies can only stare, awed by his grand declaration. A final message appears, confirming his S-rank reward. Elsewhere, a divine being watches, intrigued by this new player. Ro He's consciousness returns to his body in the hospital. He sits up, hoping his words reached at least a few of them. A nurse spots him, surprised to see him awake. The doctor gives him a clean bill of health, unaware of his recent adventures. The doctor explains he was in a coma for 3 days, along with thousands of others. He presses Ro He for answers about the global incident. But Ro He only has one question. Where is his mother? He's led to her bedside, finding her still unconscious. The doctor delivers the grim news. She's in a vegetative state. Ro He knows the truth. She was chosen for the game. Prison day doesn't take everyone at once, but in waves. And those who lose are left behind, their minds trapped. He reaches into his pocket, a plan already in motion. He remembers her sacrifices, vowing to change her fate. He pulls out his S-rank reward, a card named Freedom. It's power, a one-time ticket out of the game for any player. Without a second thought, he decides to use it on his mother. A brilliant golden light fills the entire room. The doctor is blinded, completely baffled by the event. His face is a perfect picture of professional confusion. His mother sits up, dazed but miraculously awake. Ro He pulls her into a tight, relieved embrace. He promises her that from now on she'll be safe. The doctor can only stare, convinced he's witnessed a miracle. Elsewhere, powerful players take note of the new number 1. They plot to recruit him, seeing him as a future king. His mother recounts her experience, a terrifying amusement park. Ro He listens, realizing she was in a beginner-level stage. She describes a monster reaching out to grab her. And then, her world simply faded to black. She pats his head, dismissing the whole thing as a bad dream. But Ro He gently tells her that it was all too real. Suddenly, a familiar voice echoes from the hallway. His friend Xing bursts in, thrilled to be a real-life protagonist. King excitedly recounts his own game experience, led by a heroic duo. Ro He is thoroughly unimpressed, noting his friend's delusions of grandeur are still going strong. He ushers Xing outside, telling his mother to get some rest. In the hallway, his friend frantically insists that everything he saw was real. Ro He cuts him off, calmly asking if the game was called Prison Day. King freezes, stunned that Ro He somehow knew the name. Our boy smirks, telling him to open the world player rankings for proof. His friend is baffled, repeating the command like a confused caveman. A holographic screen materializes, shocking him into silence. His eyes widen as he reads the name at the very top of the list. Ro He confirms his unspoken question with a knowing look. That's right. He's the number 1 player in the world. Xing can only stare, his mind completely blown by the revelation. Ro He holds up a glowing card, ready to make his next move. He activates his legendary reward, the player job change card. The system confirms the card's use, beginning the random draw for his new class. He knows that job cards are incredibly rare, making any class a huge advantage. While they start weak, their potential for growth is limitless. He recalls the 3 strongest jobs from his previous life. The Elemental Envoy, a master of wind, fire, water, and lightning. The Dragon-Blooded Descendant, a warrior who can become a fearsome beast. And the Wisdom Seeker, a legendary class that can manipulate time itself. He stands in a digital void, awaiting the system's random choice. The result flashes before him. Myriad Novice. Ro He is stunned. It's a class he has never even heard of. The system details his new job, which grants him perfect resonance with any tool. Its advancement path shows 5 stages, all of them a complete mystery. He realizes this job will be far more difficult to master than any other, but a smile creeps across his face, curious about its ultimate power. Just then, Shu Ting receives a system-wide alert about Ro-hee's world-first achievement. His friend immediately clings to his leg, begging to be taken under his wing. But their reunion is interrupted by a nurse asking if she's intruding. Ro-hee remembers this moment. She's here to collect overdue hospital fees. The nurse confirms his fears, explaining they're a month behind on payments. Shu King offers to cover the bill, but Ro-hee calmly refuses his help. He recalls becoming a bodyguard in his last life to make ends meet. He clenches his fist, vowing to never be a burden to anyone again. Suddenly, the nurse's phone rings, breaking the tension. She answers the call as the two friends watch on. Her expression shifts from professional to utterly shocked. She turns back to Ro-hee, beaming with incredible news. Someone paid for 100 years of fees, for both him and the flat-topped patient. Shu King is outraged, insisting he's just here visiting a friend. Ro-hee points his friend toward his mother's room, ready to move on. Just then, a group of powerful-looking individuals appears down the hall. A man with long blonde hair steps forward, asking for Mr. Ro-hee. Both Ro-hee and Shu King are taken aback by the sudden visitors. The man politely asks for their help in contacting the world's top player. Ro-hee smirks. He knew the world's elite would come looking for him. Shu King steps forward, cautiously asking why they need to see his friend. He sizes them up, recognizing them as influential figures. He quickly connects the dots. They're here because of Ro-hee's #1 rank. He also wonders why they'd pay his hospital fees. He's not even a patient. The nurse whispers that these must be their mysterious benefactors. She's stunned when Ro-hee confirms he already knew. Ro-hee steps forward, calmly introducing himself to the powerful group. They're impressed by his composure, surprised by how young he is. But Ro-hee knows exactly who these people are. The leader is Zhao Ming, a rising star in politics and business. The other is Ding Yiyun, a tech CEO with deep military ties. The final member is Zheng Shilin, head of a global energy conglomerate, a woman with immense resources and worldwide influence. Zhao Ming offers a formal introduction, but Ro-hee isn't interested in pleasantries. He cuts them off, telling them to get straight to the point. The group is stunned. He already knows who they are. They realize the world's top player is far from ordinary. Zheng Shilin finds this young man more intriguing than she ever expected. She invites him to a more private location they've prepared. But Ro-hee takes control, suggesting the doctor's office will do just fine. The two men exchange a look, agreeing to his terms. The powerful trio follows him, their plans already derailed. Zheng Shilin smirks, recognizing a man who never cedes control. The nurse and Shu King can't believe what they're seeing. What a glow-up. Ro-hee turns, telling his friend to bring the strategy guide and join them. Shu King is a nervous wreck, questioning if he really needs the guide. Ro-hee asks if he even bothered to read it. The guilt is palpable. His friend admits he thought it was a joke and tossed it in the trash. He sprints off to go dumpster diving for the legendary cheat codes. Ro-hee realizes why they got no bonuses. His friend is definitely getting punched later. Zheng Shilin's interest is piqued by the mention of a strategy guide. Ro-hee calmly explains it's a complete walkthrough for the game's early stages. The group is in disbelief. How could such a thing possibly exist? Ro-hee simply tells them to wait and see for themselves. Meanwhile, the doctor is unceremoniously kicked out of his own office. Zhao Ming reads the recovered guide, his eyes widening in shock. The others confirm it. Every detail of their own stages is written inside. Shu King finally understands, and Ro-hee reminds him what he missed out on. The weight of his mistake hits him like a ton of bricks. Humbled, Zhao Ming admits they came to recruit him, but now see their positions have reversed. Ro-hee smirks as Zheng Shilin calls him a prophet who knows the future. Ro-hee admits her assessment isn't far from the truth. He explains his knowledge comes from his past life's survivors. A life of study has become his greatest weapon against the gods. With the pleasantries over, he asks what they truly want from him. The powerful trio exchanges a knowing glance. In unison, they bow, asking him to become their advisor. They need his guidance to survive the horrors of prison day. Zhao Ming admits the feeling of helplessness was terrifying. Ding Yiyun believes Ro-hee is their only hope for a better outcome. And Zheng Shilin knows this is only the beginning of their nightmare. Shu King just stands there, trying his best to look important. They offer him anything he wants in exchange for his help. Ro-hee considers their offer, a confident smirk on his face. His friend can only watch, completely starstruck by the display. Shu King assumes his friend's first demand will be for money. He imagines them both rolling in cash. Finally, a retirement plan. But Ro-hee cuts through the fantasy, laying out 3 conditions. Shu King is in awe of his friend's master-level negotiation skills. The trio eagerly agrees, ready to accept any terms he sets. His friend, however, thinks he's lowballing them. Amateur hour, Ro-hee's first condition. They must distribute his guides to the world. The group is stunned, unable to grasp why he'd give away such a treasure. He calmly points out that he already gave it to them for free. Humbled, they can only acknowledge his incredible generosity. He explains his goal isn't profit, but saving as many lives as he can. He gives them an ultimatum. Agree, or this meeting is over. They realize he's not bluffing. He's a man of unshakable principle. With no other choice, they agree to his first demand. Rohi moves on to his second condition. A player management bureau. Zhao Ming assures him they're on the same page, vowing to protect the innocent. Rohi prepares to state his final condition. The powerful trio braces themselves for an impossible demand. Xu Qing, meanwhile, is having a silent meltdown, begging his friend to ask for cash. But Rohi's request is simple, a home for him and his mother. He just wants to give the woman who raised him a normal life. The group is left speechless by his humble, heartfelt request. His friend, however, is absolutely devastated by this missed financial opportunity. Rohi masterfully plays it off, suggesting they can just stay if it's too much trouble. The trio immediately scrambles, practically begging to fulfill his wish. He calmly tells them to take it down a notch. He's got them hooked. They quickly regain their composure, apologizing for the outburst. Internally, they all realize this is the perfect chance to win his favor. With the deal settled, Rohi dismisses them, expecting another visitor. He warns them that the next round of prison day is about to begin. The news sends a fresh wave of shock through the powerful group. A system message appears, confirming a 72-hour countdown to the next game. Rohi promises them new guides once they've fulfilled their end of the bargain. The trio bows deeply, accepting his terms without hesitation. As Rohi stands over them, a silent rivalry begins to form. Just then, a bodyguard interrupts, announcing a visitor. Ding Yiyun snaps, having ordered them not to be disturbed. The guard stammers that the woman claims to be Rohi's girlfriend. The entire room is stunned by this unexpected development. Xu Qing is comically betrayed, accusing his friend of hiding a secret relationship. Rohi shuts him down, clarifying for the record that he is very, very single. A woman enters with a bouquet, but Rohi's expression turns to ice. The others watch on, noting that the two at least look good together. But Rohi's cold stare tells a very different story. He remembers her cruel words from the past, mocking his illness. A memory of being left alone in the rain surfaces, her laughter echoing in his mind. He recalls their school days when she was just a friend. She offers a bouquet, a hollow apology for her past cruelty. His new allies see the tension, ready to handle this little problem for him. But Xu Qing steps in first, fiercely defending his friend's honor. The woman claims she was young and foolish, a convenient excuse. Rohi cuts right through the act, asking if she saw his rank. Her shocked face is all the confirmation he needs. Zheng Shilin scoffs, unimpressed by such a predictable opportunist. The woman begs, trying to guilt him into saving her life. Xu Qing explodes, reminding her she didn't just reject him, she destroyed him. Rohi calms his friend, ready to walk away from this drama. He delivers one final blow. He never even liked her. Ouch. In a last-ditch effort, she offers herself up as a prize. She chases after him, refusing to let her golden ticket escape. But her path is suddenly blocked by two very large obstacles. Ding Yiyun's bodyguards stand like a wall before her. She tries to pull rank, claiming to be Rohi's girlfriend. Zheng Shilin shuts her down, telling her not to flatter herself. With a single command, she orders the woman removed. She's dragged away, screaming empty claims to the very end. Xu Qing leans back, satisfied with a problem well solved. But Rohi's mind is already elsewhere, focused on another memory. He knows someone important should be here right now. He opens the door to his mother's room, his heart pounding. A flash of silver hair catches the light. A familiar face turns, her eyes wide with surprise. She's with his mother, a gentle presence in the quiet room. Rohi smiles, greeting her as if a lifetime has passed. The girl is confused. For her, it's only been a week. He remembers her dying in his arms and pulls her into a desperate embrace. This time, he won't let her go. The girl is completely flustered, while his mother just smiles knowingly. Xu Qing tries to connect the dots, sensing this is more than just a friendship. Later that night, the full moon hangs in the sky. Rohi sits awake in his new hospital room, watching over his sleeping mother. He smirks, impressed by how quickly his new allies upgraded their accommodations. A system countdown appears, giving him just over 63 hours until the next game. He confirms the timeline is the same, giving him a precious window to prepare. He pulls up his status, ready to test the tool resonance of his new job. He places his hand on the bed, deciding to start with something simple. A blue aura spreads from his hand, enveloping the entire object. His mind is flooded with information, analyzing the bed's every detail. He can even see a single loose screw on one of the wheels. Talk about a warranty issue. He wishes he had a real weapon to see the true potential of this skill. Suddenly, a mysterious voice declares he is now qualified for a god's trial. Rohi freezes, recognizing the voice that's haunted him his entire life. He demands to know who it is and what qualifications he could possibly have. The voice brushes him off, simply offering him a choice. A shadowy figure appears, inviting him to undergo its trial. Rohi realizes this entity might be the key to defeating the evil gods. With his eyes burning with resolve, he knows this is a chance he must take. He accepts the challenge, ready to face whatever comes next. The shadowy being grins, pleased with his answer. It warns him that failure means being trapped in this space forever. No pressure. Rohi is pulled into a swirling vortex of mysterious, sacred energy. He wonders what the prize is, if simply surviving is the bare minimum. The energy coalesces, forming the arena for his trial. A massive pillar of light erupts from the ground before him. He lands on his feet, the energy dissipating around him. His eyes scan the strange new landscape. In the distance, a massive, ominous palace looms through the mist. The voice lays out the simple, brutal terms, kill or be killed in 10 minutes. It offers a final, cryptic piece of advice about the true nature of victory. Rohi's eyes narrow, taking in every word of the challenge. The trial begins as his opponent materializes from the swirling energy. He's facing the Oathkeeper swordsman, a warrior who can never be wounded. Rohi stares up at the towering knight, his first divine trial now before him. He smirks, intrigued by the title match. Strongest player versus strongest swordsman. A weapon is granted to him, a simple blade descending in a pillar of light. He grabs the sword, ready to test the limits of his new job skill. But the system informs him this weapon is an illusion and cannot be resonated with. So much for that plan. He realizes his power only works on real physical objects. With no time to waste on a useless skill, he decides to end this quickly. He charges forward, eager to see if the knight lives up to his title. Their blades meet, and Rohi is impressed by his opponent's raw strength. The knight leaps into the air, preparing a devastating overhead strike. Rohi notes the surprising speed behind the great sword's heavy blows. The Oathkeeper brings his weapon down with overwhelming force. Our boy recognizes the telltale signs of a finishing move. The knight unleashes a powerful, arcing slash that tears through the ground. But Rohi spots a fatal opening, believing the fight is already over. He lands a perfect counter, a clean strike right through the knight's chest. The swordsman's form flickers, but he remains standing. Rohi is stunned. A wound like that should have been the end. He finally understands the meaning of the knight's title. He cannot be killed by another's hand. With the clock ticking down, he must find another way to win. He dodges a relentless assault, his mind racing for a solution. The mysterious god's hint echoes in his mind, the key to this puzzle. He notices a small skull on the knight's shoulder, a detail he missed before. He realizes the knight's defensive stance is meant to protect that single point. The truth dawns on him. As an Oathkeeper, his vow is to protect the one behind him. To win, he must use the knight's own vow against him. The mysterious god scoffs, certain he's still unworthy of its blessing. Rohi leaps over his opponent, aiming not for the knight but for the skull. The Oathkeeper turns, shocked by this completely unexpected tactic. Even the watching god is stunned by this turn of events. Rohi tells the knight to finally see the truth. He's been protecting a skeleton. The warrior's eyes widen as he finally looks at what he's been guarding. The crushing weight of his failed oath washes over him. He clutches the remains, his entire world shattering in an instant. Rohi watches as the knight's will breaks, his form dissolving into dust. He explains the solution was never to kill him, but to show him he'd already failed. The sword was just a distraction, a tool to mislead him into a pointless fight. With the trial won, he calls out to the god hiding in the mist. The entity appears, impressed that Rohi saw through its simple deception. It declares him worthy and prepares to bestow its true blessing. Rohi waits, wondering what kind of power this trial has earned him. But the god warns him to brace himself. The real test is just beginning. A sinister grin spreads across the entity's shadowy face. Classic fine print. Rohi is confused, demanding to know what it means by another trial. The god explains he must now withstand the mental impact of all living things. He must endure the collective emotions of every soul on the planet. The world around him shatters as the psychic wave hits. He's plunged into a sea of human suffering and despair. He realizes a god's power is forged from the faith of all humanity. He sees flashes of life from birth to death, joy to sorrow. The sheer weight of it all begins to take its toll on him. He knows that if this continues, his mind will be completely overwhelmed. But instead of breaking, a manic grin spreads across his face. He realizes this power will let him fight the evil gods on their own terms. The mysterious god is shocked, declaring no human can withstand this final wave. The final wave of psychic energy engulfs him completely. The god is shocked, believing the trial is finally over, but Rohi stands unbroken, the energy swirling around him. He grins, having absorbed it all without breaking a sweat. The god is impressed, finally bestowing its blessing upon him. It explains this is just the beginning of his journey to true power. Rohi is left with more questions than answers. The trial space dissolves before he can even get a name. He's back in his bed, wondering what he just earned. He pulls up his status panel, looking for the change. He's been granted the mental aegis, a gift from Seraph Gabriel. He smirks, now understanding the unidentifiable blessing. A sudden, powerful realization dawns on him. The illness he's had his whole life was actually his greatest power. Meanwhile, Shuqing is freaking out over a new video. His friend is completely losing his mind with excitement. Rohi reminds him to keep it down. It is a hospital, after all. Shuqing shows him a realistic simulation of the first stage. His mother watches on, happy to see them getting along so well. Rohi notes his new allies have already released the guides. They've even established a task force to manage players. He checks the rankings, wondering who will rise to the challenge. A nurse bursts in, announcing a motorcade is waiting for him. Shuqing peeks out the window, his jaw on the floor. His friend's eyes sparkle at the sight of such luxury. Outside, an entire fleet of cars and guards awaits. Zheng Shilin announces they're here to take him to his new home. Shuqing can't believe they actually followed through on their promise. Rohi gets up, unimpressed by the flashy display. His mother, however, is worried he's gotten into trouble. He reassures his mother, promising he hasn't done anything illegal. He then claims he's saving the world, much to everyone's amusement. With a confident look, he tells them they'll all understand soon enough. Their first stop is a breathtaking villa, a gift from Zhao Ming. He lists off the perks: bodyguards, housekeepers, and even a private farm. Shuqing's mind is blown, trying to calculate the cost of such luxury. Zhao Ming explains it's a private holding, a priceless gift for Rohi. His friend can only gape, realizing the house is one of a kind. But Rohi is unimpressed, ready to see the next option. As he walks away, the other two allies see their opening. With Zhao Ming's offer rejected, they believe their chance has come. Ding Yiyun is certain his choice will be the one to win Rohi's favor. He presents a penthouse in a skyscraper overlooking the entire city. Shuqing is once again starstruck by the incredible view. Ding Yiyun boasts that it was designed by a world-famous architect. He calls it the crown jewel of the entire building, but he hints that there's an even bigger surprise waiting inside. With a snap of his fingers, he reveals his secret weapon. A team of housekeepers appears, all calling Rohi master. Shuqing looks like his soul is about to leave his body. The women surround Rohi, offering their complete devotion. The other two allies can't believe they didn't think of this first. Ding Yiyun smirks, confident that no man could refuse this offer. Rohi, completely unfazed, simply says, "Next one." Ding Yiyun is left in a state of utter disbelief. Zheng Shilin smiles, realizing Rohi is truly a different breed. Zhao Ming sees this as his chance to get back in the game. Zheng Shilin steps forward, ready to present her own offer. She explains she researched his past to find something meaningful. She gestures to a familiar building, asking if he recognizes it. Rohi recognizes the street, a place from a life long past. His other two allies realize they've just been checkmated. Zheng Shilin explains the home has changed, but she tried to restore it. She opens the door to reveal a perfect recreation of his childhood home. Rohi is touched, seeing the care she put into every detail. He accepts her offer, and Zheng Shilin is thrilled to have won his favor. The other two can only watch, their lavish gifts utterly forgotten. Rohi then turns to his friend, telling him to hand over the goods. Zheng Shilin looks on, curious about this new development. Shuqing pulls out the next set of guides for the second-tier stages. She's horrified he kept something so priceless tucked in his pants. Priorities, man. She asks if these new guides are also for public distribution. Rohi says no, telling her to give them only to the most promising players. He explains that in this game, players must learn to stand on their own. A guide won't save those who lack the will to fight. Their goal is to find the true elites, the ones who can change the game. The strongest will always rise to the top, with or without help. Zheng Shilin understands his logic, but asks what his ultimate goal is. Rohi declares he's building an army to save the world. The powerful trio is left speechless by his extraordinary ambition. Just then, Shuqing arrives with a massive backpack, ready for round 2. Rohi embraces his mother, promising he'll be back soon. The system announces the end of their break. The game is back on. As they're pulled away, Shuqing gives a cheerful wave goodbye. Rohi tells his friend he's on his own this time. No more carrying. Shu King grins, confident he'll make a name for himself. Rohi stands ready, a new sword at his side, prepared for the next trial. He materializes in a familiar, desolate place. The system confirms the D-rank stage, the frozen apartment. But Rohi knows the game's instructions are never what they seem. He knows that to clear this stage, he'll need a reliable partner. The true goal is to lure two bosses into fighting each other. A painful memory reminds him why trust is a rare commodity, but he has a card that can summon the one person he trusts. He activates the special team-up card he earned earlier. A familiar figure appears, pulled from her own game stage. He greets her with a smile, but she's understandably confused. Wuroi looks around, wondering where she's been teleported. He calmly explains that he was the one who summoned her here. He remembers her first stage was a brutal island survival game. He's determined to spare her from that fate this time around. She's shocked he knows the details of her private nightmare. Just then, a system message appears before her. It confirms she's been pulled into the frozen apartment stage. He reminds her of the game's name, and it all clicks into place. He tells her he needs a trustworthy partner, and she's his only choice. He asks her to join him, warning of the dangers ahead. She looks around, a flicker of recognition in her eyes. A memory surfaces of the day they first met as children. His words echo the same invitation he offered all those years ago. A single moment of kindness that changed her entire life. Without hesitation, she takes his hand and accepts his offer. With the countdown ticking away, he makes sure she's ready. She confidently recites the plan. Close enough, I guess. He explains the layout, a vertical maze teeming with monsters. One of the bosses is a hulking brute, a creature of pure rage. The other is a sinister figure waiting in the darkness below. With their strategy set, she vows to pull her own weight. The final seconds tick away as he prepares to open the door. Beyond it lies a frozen hellscape, the trial now truly beginning. Wuri shivers in the cold, but Rohi promises a warm-up is coming soon. He spots a familiar silhouette, recognizing the betrayer from his past life. A man with a buzz cut creeps through the halls, knife in hand. He stops dead in his tracks, surprised to find he's not alone. His fear turns to relief, realizing he's found other players. But Rohi knows this script by heart. The man looks honest, but it's all an act. He remembers this exact man, the one who pretended to be a friend. In the last timeline, he hid during every fight, a coward in the shadows. But behind that weak facade was a truly sinister smile. After Rohi had exhausted himself defeating a powerful boss, the man stabbed him in the back, stealing all his hard-earned loot. He was left for dead, saved only by a stroke of luck. Just as predicted, the man offers to team up, his words dripping with false sincerity. His inner thoughts reveal a plan to kill Rohi and claim Wu Rui as a prize. Charming. He's also got his greedy eyes on Rohi's sword. He extends a hand, trying to seal the deal with a friendly gesture. But Rohi has a different kind of handshake in mind. The man can only stare in shock as the blade pierces his chest. Rohi looks down, his expression cold as he returns the favor. As the man collapses, Rohi calmly asks Wu Rui if she has any questions. She doesn't, trusting his judgment without a single doubt. With a smile, she agrees it's time to go hunt for some cards. They walk away, leaving the would-be backstabber to his fate. Elsewhere, another player observes the scene, intrigued by Rohi's actions. He finds the number one player's methods impossible to predict. Checking the rankings, he decides Rohi is someone to watch closely. Meanwhile, a pair of monstrous feet dangle from the ceiling above. Rohi enters a new room, confidently telling Wu Rui to expect company. A hanging frost wraith appears, its stats revealing a formidable foe. With a single command in its mind, the creature lunges to attack. Wu Rui recoils as the monster appears, but Rohi is completely unfazed. The creature lets out a piercing shriek, its tongue lashing out. Rohi simply tells it to shut up. He's not a fan of loud noises. He lands a single punch, and the monster seems genuinely confused. A powerful shockwave of energy blasts straight through its body. The beam erupts from its back, tearing a hole through the ceiling. The monster dissolves, leaving behind a single stamina card. Wuri is stunned, asking if he's always this brutal with monsters. He explains that not all enemies are a threat. This one was just weak. A horror movie fan, she imagines him facing something truly terrifying. He hands her the card, telling her how to activate her player stats. She takes the card, realizing these monsters aren't like the ones in movies. She focuses her mind, ready to feel the power for the first time. The card activates, enveloping her in a brilliant golden light. Her status panel appears, confirming her new level 1 stamina. Rohi tells her she learned fast, and that it's time to move on. She realizes the cold doesn't bother her anymore. A very nice perk. She asks him how he knows the game so well if he enjoys playing it. Her question makes him stop dead in his tracks. Wurui is confused, a crown of question marks appearing over her head. His expression darkens, his face hidden in shadow. She immediately worries that she said something wrong. He tells her there is absolutely nothing fun about this game. He reminds her that their one and only goal is to destroy it. She doesn't understand his reasons, but she trusts him completely. Suddenly, a monstrous hand smashes through a nearby frozen wall. Another frost wraith appears, roaring as it lunges for Wu Rui. Ro-hee watches, his expression one of utter boredom. He intercepts the attack, grabbing the creature by its face. With a single effortless squeeze, he ends the fight before it begins. He explains that every floor boss is guaranteed to drop a card. Elsewhere, other players wander aimlessly through the frozen maze. Wu Rui is amazed that Ro-hee navigates the confusing halls with ease. He explains the stage's true danger, a steady, relentless drop in temperature. The other players realize that without finding the boss, there is no escape. The only future for those who fail is to become a permanent ice sculpture. Wu Rui shivers at the thought, but Ro-hee's focus is unshaken. He knows exactly where to find this floor's boss and how to take it out. With a confident stride, he leads her toward their first objective. But they're not alone. The rooftop observer is still watching from the shadows. He wonders how Ro-hee knows the way when the system offers no clues. He smirks, hoping the world's #1 player lives up to the hype. Deep in the maze, Ro-hee and Wu Rui finally reach their destination. He explains the boss is well hidden and needs to be lured out. But before he can act, a new group of players appears behind them. A man with fiery red hair steps forward, a cocky grin on his face. Wu Rui asks if he knows this guy, but Ro-hee has never seen him before. The man scoffs, boasting that he's also on the global rankings. The observer watches on, curious to see what rank this newcomer holds. Ro-hee calmly states he doesn't recognize him from the top 10. The man introduces himself as Zhang Qi, ranked 783rd, a future legend in his own mind. Ro-hee and Wu Rui are completely, utterly unimpressed. Even the observer seems disappointed by this turn of events. Ro-hee dismisses him as 783, and Zhang Qi vows to take his #1 spot. Fueled by rage, the challenger lunges forward to attack. But his charge is interrupted by a sudden, clumsy obstacle. One of his own men trips him, sending him crashing to the floor. Ro-hee tells the wannabe to go sit in the corner. He has work to do. But Zhang Qi isn't done yet, pulling a dagger from his coat. He rallies his goons, promising them all of Ro-hee's loot. The challenger is furious, vowing to return the favor 100 times over. Ro-hee decides these guys are just idiots, not evil, and need a little lesson. With a single kick, he snaps a metal pipe from the wall. He calmly picks up his new makeshift weapon. He smirks, ready to give them the kind of schooling their elders should have. This is perfect. He needed to make some noise to lure out the boss anyway. He activates his job skill, ready to test the resonance of tools. The system rates the pipe as useless trash, but notes it can grant a strength boost. Ro-hee realizes this skill will be perfect for identifying unknown items. Zhang Qi scoffs, telling him not using his sword will be his biggest mistake. Ro-hee stands unfazed, his real weapon still sheathed at his side. The wannabe hero rallies his men, ordering them to charge. His brothers, however, seem to think he should go first. Teamwork is hard. He screams at his cowardly followers, demanding they get in there. One of them finally points out that they're picking a fight with the #1 player. But Zhang Qi doesn't care, blinded by his wounded pride. He leaps forward, determined to make a name for himself. Ro-hee decides to hit him where it hurts the most. He swings the pipe, effortlessly countering the brain-dead attack. The challenger's face contorts in pure, unadulterated agony. He collapses to the ground as Wu Rui and the others watch in shock. Ro-hee notes that a scream that loud should have gotten the boss's attention. Suddenly, a green tendril whips through the air. It wraps around Zhang Qi, silencing his cries for good. The poor guy is dragged away, his eyes wide with terror. He's pulled down the dark hallway by an unseen force. His men can only panic, begging someone to save their boss. They turn to Ro-hee and Wu Rui, who are just watching the show. Ro-hee calmly identifies the creature as the floor boss they need to kill. He tells Wu Rui to stay close as they prepare to follow. Wu Rui watches him go, amazed by his enhanced speed. She daydreams about becoming a superhero with enough stats. She giggles, a bit embarrassed by her own nerdy fantasy. From above, the observer realizes Ro-hee is hunting the floor boss. He knows that teaming up with the #1 is his best shot at survival. The tendril continues to drag Zhang Qi away, his protests muffled. His followers can only scream in terror, demanding his release. They threaten the monster, which seems like a solid plan. One of them musters the courage to charge forward. He's immediately snatched by another one of the green tendrils. The creature wraps him up, pulling him into the darkness. The floor boss is revealed, a massive mutant man-eating flower. Trapped in its maw, Jiangqi desperately cries for help. From the monster's point of view, a lone figure approaches. It's Ro-hee, the world's #1, looking completely unfazed. Jiangqi wonders if the man he just provoked will bother to save him. Ro-hee leaps into the air, sword drawn and ready to strike. He unleashes a powerful slash with his blue-veined sword. The glowing arc of energy slices cleanly through the monster's vines. The creature dissolves as Jiangqi is freed, saved by the man he challenged. Ro-hee's cold stare makes him feel worse than if he'd just been killed. He tells the kid to start winning properly if he wants to be ranked. He promises a real fight once Jiangqi makes it to the top 10. The challenger is left speechless, humbled by the offer. He clenches his fist, vowing to reach the top and earn that duel. With the boss dead, a portal opens, just as Ro-hee remembers. But this time, the system offers 2 distinct paths forward. Wu-rui finally catches up as a 5-minute timer appears. She's stunned by the choice and asks Ro-hee which way to go. Jiangqi chimes in, assuming both paths are too scary for her. Real smooth. Wu-rui is thrilled by the choice. Monsters upstairs, ghosts downstairs. She tries to play it cool, not wanting Ro-hee to think she's a weirdo. He asks her which path she'd prefer, and she's caught completely off guard. Internally, she's having a meltdown, wanting to explore both options. But their decision is interrupted by Jiangqi asking to tag along. Just then, the rooftop observer appears, introducing himself as Liu Mao, ranked 34th. Ro-hee acknowledges him, as Wu-rui gasps at such a high rank. Jiangqi scoffs, unimpressed by 34th place and aiming for the top 10. Ro-hee reveals he knew Liu Mao was following them all along. He didn't expose him because in the last timeline, this man saved his life. Liu Mao confirms that Ro-hee was aware of his presence. A flashback shows Ro-hee bleeding out after the backstabber's betrayal. Just as he was about to die, Liu Mao appeared, pulling him from the brink. He had offered his help, needing a competent ally to clear the stage. He had taken charge, promising they would both make it out alive. Together, they fought their way through the treacherous maze. Ro-hee remembers seeing him as a savior in that desperate moment. But even a player as strong as Liu Mao eventually fell in prison day. It was then that Ro-hee learned a devastating truth. Even the strongest humans are just toys to the gods. Back in the present, Liu Mao asks for an answer to his team-up request. Jiangqi mocks him, doubting the #1 player needs a sidekick. But Ro-hee agrees, telling Liu Mao he's exactly what he needs. Liu Mao offers a gift of cards, but Ro-hee politely refuses. He explains that the debt was already paid in his past life. Liu Mao assumes Ro-hee is simply too strong to need his help. So instead, he offers the powerful cards to Wu-rui. What a gentleman. Her eyes sparkle at the thought of becoming a real-life superhero. She glances at Ro-hee, silently asking for his permission. He nods, telling her she needs to grow stronger too, and she happily accepts. Liu Mao explains that a little self-interest makes a person trustworthy. He vows to repay Ro-hee in the real world before they head downstairs. Wu-rui agrees, ready to follow her leader into the frozen depths. The newly formed team descends, ready for the next challenge. Meanwhile, Jiangqi stews, certain he's just as worthy of an invitation. He hypes himself up, convinced Ro-hee would be a fool to reject him. With renewed confidence, he runs up to ask for a spot on the team. Ro-hee shuts him down with a single soul-crushing word. The wannabe is left frozen in place, his dreams shattered. Tough break, kid. As they continue down, Liu Mao asks about Ro-hee's knowledge of the stage. Ro-hee lays out the simple structure. 7 floors, with 3 to clear in either direction. Liu Mao presses for more, asking if he knows the final boss's weaknesses. Ro-hee confirms that he does, revealing the bosses can't be killed by players. The only way to win is to make the top and bottom bosses meet. Liu Mao is stunned, realizing this means they'll have to split up. But Ro-hee has a better plan. They'll go down together and lure the first boss. Then they'll lead it all the way to the top, minimizing their own risk. Liu Mao is in awe, knowing only a monster like Ro-hee could pull that off. Wu-rui realizes his original plan was for her to solo one of the bosses. Ro-hee confirms it, but says her safety is more important than the original strategy. She's touched by his concern, her heart skipping a beat. She does a little happy dance, clearly smitten with her hero. But the moment is broken as she shivers, the cold biting through her stats. Ro-hee explains the temperature is dropping twice as fast on this floor. With no time to waste, he urges them to find the floor boss quickly. A glowing blue eye watches them from the shadows. The floor boss is revealed. A massive werewolf leading a horde of ghouls. Liu Mao is amazed that Ro-hee found it so precisely in the massive maze. Ro-hee cryptically states that a path burned by death is one you never forget. Liu Mao is left speechless, unable to comprehend how that's even possible. The system reveals the boss's stats. The Hound King, a D-rank beast. Rohi tells the others he's going in, warning them about the minions. Liu Mao steps up, confidently vowing to protect Wu Rui. Rohi trusts him completely, knowing she'll be safe in his hands. With his allies secure, he charges forward, a blur of deadly intent. The Hound King roars, lunging to meet the challenge head-on. Their first clash is a brutal test of strength, sword against fang. Meanwhile, the boss's ghoul minions swarm the remaining two players. Liu Mao stands his ground, shielding Wu Rui from the coming horde. He effortlessly intercepts two of the ghouls, grabbing them by the face. He boasts about his martial arts, claiming these monsters are no match for him. He turns to reassure Wu Rui, but his words are cut short by a surprise. She's already in the fight, landing a powerful kick on a nearby ghoul. Wu Rui celebrates, thrilled by her newfound ability to fight monsters. Liu Mao can only watch, impressed that she's just as surprising as Rohi.